We still can't see him, but he's now in stage 3. At the end of stage 3, he will now enter into our dimension of time. His day will be like our day. And so we'll be able to see him. At that time, he will be a Jew, the Antichrist. He'll be a young man. He'll be powerfully built. He would have curly hair. Where would he be on earth? Jerusalem, the Holy Land. Ruling the world from Jerusalem. From what would appear to be the throne of David, alayhi salam. With what would appear to be eternal rule. Then the Antichrist would say, I am the Messiah. And lots of Jews and lots of Christians, I believe, particularly those around George Bush, would accept him as the Messiah. Then of course he can rub his hands and say, mission accomplished. By my calculation, I think we're about 50 years away from that, but of course I can be wrong. But in order for the Antichrist to achieve his objective, he needs to liberate the Holy Land. Number 2, he needs to bring the Jews back to the Holy Land to reclaim it as their own. Number 3, he needs to restore a state of Israel in the Holy Land and get the Jews to believe that this is the holy Israel of David and of Solomon, alayhi salam. And number 4, he has to get that state of Israel to become the ruling state in the world. The Antichrist uses the world order of Gog and Magog to achieve his objectives. It is as plain as daylight. It is that white world order which has made it possible for the Holy Land to be liberated. 1917, British Army. It is that white world order which has brought the Jews back to the Holy Land to reclaim it as their own. It is that white world order which has caused the state of Israel to be restored in the Holy Land, and it is not an essentially Jewish state. That Israel is a white European state, masquerading as Jewish. It is a Euro-Jewish state. The Jews who are our cousins, the Jews who are of Semitic origin, not European origin, those Jews are second-class citizens in Israel. And those Jews are constantly complaining about racial discrimination against them in Israel by the white Jews. And it is that white world order which is now poised, the world order of Gog and Magog, which is now poised to deliver to Israel the rule over the whole world. We have said in previous lectures that there is an uncanny similarity between an act of terrorism which occurred in the summer of 1914 and which paved the way for the First World War, which delivered the liberation of the Holy Land for the Jews. The summer of 1914. An uncanny similarity between that act of terrorism and September the 11th. We say that the same people who planned and executed the attack of the summer of 1914 are the same people who planned and executed the attack of September the 11th. The purpose for the September the 11th attack is to allow events to unfold in such a way that Israel can eventually wage a big war And when Israel wages a big war, the territory of the state of Israel will expand dramatically. How big? From the river of Egypt to the river Euphrates. From the river of Egypt to the river Euphrates. Does it sound familiar? Does it sound familiar? From the river of Egypt to the river Euphrates. That's false. Is there in the Bible? Yes, but it's false. The Holy Land does not extend from the river of Egypt to the river Euphrates, and the Quran confirms that. The Holy Land is what is today called Palestine. When Israel wages that big war, Israel then sees the Suez Canal. Israel will seize the oil of the Gulf. And Britain and the United States will stand firmly behind Israel, Blair and Bush. At that time, the US dollar collapses. At that time, the US economy collapses. At that time, Israel stakes her claim to be the ruling state in the world. Not appear to be an aggressor. And not appear to be an aggressor. Israel must be able to present to mankind an image of a state which is under siege, a state which is facing a tremendous threat to its existence. And so September 11th was used to attack Afghanistan with a brutality which is inexplicable. A 2,000-pound bomb being dropped upon a people who are defenseless, living in almost primitive conditions, and who had waged war against the Soviet Union for 12 long years, who are some of the poorest people on the face of the earth, and you are the richest, the most wealthy, the most powerful country in the world, and you're dropping 2,000-pound bombs upon these defenseless people, indiscriminately killing women, killing children, doesn't matter. Why? This indiscriminate, reckless, wanton use of force in such a wicked way. There's a purpose. The purpose is to try to wake up the Muslim world, wake them up, so that they'll come out and attempt to use force. And then the attack on Iraq. And after attacking Iraq and getting rid of that blue-eyed boy of the Yankees, they created him, they fed him, they groomed him, they supported him, all through a man named Saddam Hussein. Then they turned against their own blue-eyed boy, used him as the reason and justification to invade Iraq. But if we, the Muslims, had ever attempted to remove Saddam Hussein, they would have destroyed